what I mean.
I wish. God, I wish.
Well, she's throwing comp if you pick her.
Yeah, same here with the client spec.
You are correct.
Okay, guys, I got some fresh memes.
Eat candy.
I got my pizza rolls. I got my rats who are just sleeping. Considering every single thing we do wrong.
What the fuck? Oh yeah, Lex is amazing. How? Ryan is a what?
76, I think.
Sorry, Lex is a what?
He's like
Wait,
a
what am
tier
I
3
playing?
coach.
Oh.
You're going, shit. Okay, go Brigade, I'll go Zarya. You're
Game
spent too much time
on.
on troll fix.
Yeah.
Alright. Are we speeding? Oh, I'm almost.
Spent too
Okay,
much
so-
time on troll fix.
As Ryan here, you want to keep swinging. If you know that Diva is putting out her burst rockets, you can decide to tank them, so you give ult charge to your healers. And you can also hold your shield up, but then you have to recharge it at some point. If you tank the damage, the upside is that you can keep swinging, you can keep doing your fire strikes and so on.
Yeah.
Alright, are we speeding?
And if you look here at...
Too much time on troll fix.
So, while you're swinging, and afterwards you shield, and if you look at your shield behind you, there's no one behind you. And it's most likely because everyone else is just taking cover. And that's why I think it's better to just swing here and tank some of the damage. If you end up at 200 HP, for example, like half of your a bit less than half of your HP, then you can put up your shield and just have someone heal you.
Yeah.
Alright,
And
are we speeding? Oh, I'm almost down.
let's see, how do you get so much damage done on you?
You're spent too much
Game
time
on.
on troll fix.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, where does the add damage
Are we
come from?
speeding? Oh, I'm.
It's a lot of damage, but I have no idea how.
I'm almost down.
Go again, go again, go again.
Gotta help our Ryan. Gotta help our Ryan.
Oh, Mercy pit! No.
Troll fix.
Okay, so you have...
You're spent too
Game
much time
on.
on troll fix.
You have a Zarya with you, so your Zarya should be bubbling you when you walk in after the shield here.
Yeah.
Alright, are we speeding?
Ah, it's probably... It's probably a Junkrat behind you throwing a mine, and then you get a ton of spam as well. Maybe because yeah, that's what Quake says as well.
Oh, I'm almost.
I didn't see the Junkrat, so I just wanted to make sure.
down.
So your Zarya used her personal, that's totally fine. But she... Yeah, she should use her friendly on you right now when you charge in, because when you charge in like this is a misplay because you have 80 HP and you're gonna die before you even get a chance to pin, because someone has to just sneeze on you and then you're dead. But if you're bubbled and pocketed, let's say that you have a healing nade on you, so the effect of the healing nade is gonna wear off as you slam to the wall, but you can also have someone heal you while you're in the bubble.
Gotta help our Ryan. Gotta help our Ryan.
Oh, Mercy pit!
Yeah, when you go for this pin, you end up without any escape, and you're also super deep, and no one can really help you. So as Reinhardt, you want to avoid pinning. Sometimes, for example, let's make a reference. So when you see this as Reinhardt, wait.
Alright, are we speeding? Oh, I'm almost down.
When you see all these enemies here, it's very tempting to pin, but try to just be patient, because the more you can resist pinning, the more you will have success on Reinhardt. The pins are really good for when the enemy Reinhardt pins in and you dodge it, or when he pins and you want to counter the pin, because if you have two Reinhardts, let's make a doodle. If you have two Reinhardts, one is with extra long legs, so if both charge against each other, when you collide, both will end up laying down on the floor. And yeah, you both don't take damage from the stun, but the upside is that your team can focus the enemy Reinhardt, and your Zarya can bubble you and so on. And that's, you want to save that to avoid getting pinned yourself or some teammate getting pinned right here. And luckily, like the Reinhardt, enemy Reinhardt died, so you don't have to go for the pin either, because if you play slow, you're gonna win the fight since they have no Reinhardt. And
Gotta help our Ryan.
they're forced to back off.
I'm sorry, I had to try.
Junkrat low, Junkrat
No,
low.
it's fine. I deserve to die.
Winnable. Get Moira. Moira's on point.
Easy, Max.
I'm low, I'm low, I'm low.
I'm trying to keep you up, Symmetra. Not Symmetra.
I know. That was cute.
Pumpkin just popped off. Okay.
Popping off on Brigitte.
Holy
lol.
shit.
Alright, everybody, let's go. Speed.
And especially since it's a tournament game, you want to be playing strictly, and not strictly, you want to play strict and make sure that you limit the greed and ability for the enemies to snowball you, because if you pin in and you wouldn't win the fight, they would have more ult charge than you, and they would just snowball ults, cycle ults. Maybe not at this SR, but later on when you get to better opponents and so on.
Goodbye, my children.
They're all here, performing for you.
Dude. I can't.
Your Brigitte has to be careful here as well, because she's way in front and you're not. And I guess, let's see here.
Goodbye, my children.
They're all here.
You should try and push up a bit more. You see, they are holding this corner. Let's see here, and you're holding this corner. And what you can do is you just slowly push, hold W, try and swing a bit as well, charge up your shatter, and since they're all stacked here, you're gonna get a ton of ult charge. You want to swing as well so that the diva feels like she must use her matrix, because maybe she expects a fire strike or something, or just wants to stop spam from Zarya, from diva, your diva, and so on. And when you think that the enemy diva doesn't have any matrix, or maybe she has dropped the matrix, that's when you can go for a fire strike as well, and then you have a shatter. And once you have the shatter, you speed in, you go behind the enemy Reinhardt, and you shatter everyone behind him.
Performing for you.
Dude. I can't mid smash me. I got focused.
Darkquake says you could also go with more people. No, it's only one on cart, because there's one here. This is a good thing, like for the defending team. If they see like if they see 3 people on cart, the defending team can just engage on everyone here in the front line.
Okay, guys, I'm not around the
Feel
corner.
it happens. Get back.
Let me just fix one thing here. I'm gonna turn off the music here.
Who's on cart?
Oh, fuck!
Fire.
Okay, guys, I'm not around the corner.
So, since you weren't walking up, your Brigitte dies, and I guess the Brigitte expected you to follow up, or the team to push up, because it's a very normal thing to do when you're playing King's Row. You just took first point and you try to snowball. It doesn't matter if you die or everyone dies, because if you die, you still get the same thing as if you back out and no one dies.
Feel it happens. Get back.
And you have a bit more.
Who's on cart?
You have much more ult charge as well. And if you hear the tire come in, all you have to do is call focus tire, and then you use your fire strike. Diva uses her rockets, Zarya tries to laser, Lucius tries to shoot, and so on.
Oh, fuck!
Fire. Okay, let's just all back up.
Okay, Symmetra.
I'm DMing you.
Try and recharge your shield, walk into spawn, walk in spawn.
Oh, God, we're good.
Help.
Go
We're
again.
gonna spawn camp. We're gonna spawn camp.
Go back to spawn if you can.
Ryan.
Just peek some
Okay,
pump drone charge. My bubbles are on cooldown.
Junkrat's up
Oh
top.
fuck, they booped me. I was Ivy. Oh, I'm probably dead to this? Yeah. Oh,
They used to
I
open
have
up
a
nothing.
grab.
I was Ivy. Oh, I'm probably dead to this? Yeah.
So
Oh,
this
I'm-
is
they use
totally
I-
fine. They use bomb, they use shatter, and You don't really have to do anything about it. You just reset, go for a new fight.
Reset.
Oh my god, I ulted
I
by
tried
accident.
hitting Q, but I died too fast. That's okay though. We can reset. We
Let's
have a
go
ton
out
of
right
ults
side.
right
Do
now.
not go out main.
Okay, let's go right side. Okay.
Let's debate them. Wait for me. Wait for me though. Wait for me.
Okay, we're missing someone.
Yeah, we're missing me.
Be careful, Diva up there.
Sorry,
Diva,
yeah.
try to get back if you can.
Here we go. Go again. Go again. All right, let's flank them, and I'll grab them.
You don't have to flank them right here, because your team that goes to main are gonna get rushed on. It's very easy to rush them. And you as Reinhardt is easy to spot because your footsteps are loud. If you crouch and sneak, you can still be heard, and it's really slow as well. And enemies can also see you on... If they scout, you know, to the left, if they hold the choke and they just turn around, maybe someone is holding this angle,
Okay.
and then you waste time running to this flank.
No, no, no,
I'm
no, no.
like
Oh.
completely separated, just so
Yo,
you know.
Dragonus, how you doing?
Yeah, we thought by flank you meant like
Happy Thanksgivings, True Namer 11.
all the way around. Thank you.
Watch out again with the
By
pins.
flank you meant like
So you have a shatter. Right after the grab, you want to be ready with the
all
shatter.
the way around.
This would be a perfect moment for a shatter.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna die to
Watch
this
out for
tire.
fire.
Since you got beat, you don't have to care about the tire because you have 1k HP. Just run in, try and get the shatter.
I'm super low.
I can't.
And right now you're getting outplayed by the Junkrat because he doesn't explode the tire, so the beat runs out, and you end up wasting the beat just wandering around, being afraid of the tire.
Heal you. I'm sorry.
You can force the Junkrat to use his tire by focusing the tire and not avoiding it, or you can also engage on the enemies because it's a 6v5, and you spread out with the tire moving around.
Shattering.
Nice shatter.
All in there.
Far low, far low. Far
That's a
dead.
good pin.
Alright, they dropped the
I
beat.
think this is winnable. I think this is very.
Keep swinging, just keep swinging. You don't have to hold shield up here. You're 2 up, and you just made them use beat as well, and they can't really burst you down. Everyone is healing, and you want to charge up your ult again.
Very winnable.
Yeah. It is. We need to focus there, here.
Just swing a bit more, even more than this.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Not a thing, but it's you have a tendency to be passive when you don't charge, and when you charge, or maybe when enemies are stacked, etc., you end up going for these overly aggressive plays, which is pressing the charge button, and you don't have to do that. Instead, just walk forward, swing, and be aggressive that way, because that's more guaranteed damage. You can stay alive easier, and you can also control the space in front of you. But if you pin, it's more like some of it is predicting, where enemies are standing, etc. But the enemies can boop you, they can dodge, and they can stun you, and then you have basically wasted, or not wasted, but you're much less efficient per second, if that makes sense.
Junk dead.
Reinhardt.
Yeah, Mirror. So going for these long distance swings, if he would pin, he would. Let me show. So if he would pin, it would be a pretty long animation, and it's also not guaranteed because he was looking for a pin on Reinhardt. But the Reinhardt, he can just hop back to the left, he can go to the right, and then your Reinhardt is just out of position, he's easy to focus, he's also not doing any damage, and he wants to charge up his ult. And the enemies, they can just speed back because they have a Lucio.
Okay.
Junk dead.
Reinhardt.
Friends off.
Right.
Nice.
Mine is down.
He just low.
Diva out of suit.
I have another grab.
Okay, this time I will.
This, now you can go for the pin, because right now there's no opponents that can punish you.
Diva behind.
Everybody go up
Keep
this
it down.
time. I am moving myself to the cart. I will not
Yeah,
leave.
let's go. Come on up, everyone except Gay Symmetra.
recharge your shield in this moment, because if you take a few rockets, that's no big deal. It's ult charge for healers, and you want to have your shield full or healthy at least when the enemy is pushing later.
Okay, goodbye.
My shield's ahead.
Yeah, that as well, OP cog.
Oh, Sparkler, you're way far up. You're
Oh, I
way
got
far
back,
up.
back,
Get
back,
back, get
back.
back.
Yo, Winky. How's your day so far?
Alright, I'm gonna send out grab. I'm gonna send out grab. Big, big, big.
Oh, whoops.
Okay, so let's look again here. Hi, fandoms.
Alright, I'm gonna send out grab. I'm gonna send out grab.
Get back.
So right here, you're way too far up, and it's because this section is a long travel time for the cart. No one can help you this far down, and let me just show. If you hold in front of this blockade, you will risk getting pinned to like towards this one, into this. You can also end up walking into it by not noticing it, like it happens later. And you don't have to hold this far up. You just wanna zone the enemies from the payload location, which is inside this. Let's make. You wanna zone the enemies from this location. And where you stand right now is perfect, but not you. You don't have to be beyond this position.
Alright, I'm gonna send out grab. I'm gonna send out grab. Big, big, big.
Oh, whoops.
And be careful again with pins, because if you wouldn't get stuck here, you would end up traveling all the way back here, and then you have to walk back. Your teammates might die, and yeah, it's just a lot of downtime.
Guys, this man
Someone's on point. I think it's the Laura.
Nice.
Diva point, Diva point.
Far above, far above.
Go for all.
Killing her. Oh,
I Diva down.
Okay, we're doing this, guys.
And keep pushing now.
Doing this.
Alright, great job, great job.
Okay, push up, push up. Everyone except Gay Symmetra. Come on. Speed
No, I think Gay Symmetra needs to be with them.
No, don't,
I
no,
think
please.
it's me.
I have Shatter. Tell me when you bash the Reinhardt.
I'll bubble you.
When you have shatter as well, you don't. You're only. Let me rephrase. Sorry for my English. Like I'm not a native English speaker, so I'm gonna try my best though. So, as Reinhardt, when you have shatter, you have a Lucio behind you as well, and you have a brig, and you seem to focus more on the brig stun, and you forget about the old school Reinhardt plays. We could see it. Brazil did it in Overwatch World Cup. A really sick Reinhardt play where they speed in with Lucio, and what Neil is his name. What he did is he waited for the Reinhardt to push up. This Reinhardt pushes up, and when this enemy Reinhardt is at the mark here, maybe a bit further or whatever. When he is walking in, you as Reinhardt, you call for speed, you move in here, and you just do like a drive-by, and you slam everyone from the side. Or you can even go in from the side, and you just move in outside even, and slam the backline. And you don't have to hit the Reinhardt. And then you just swing and go nuts. So you don't only have to call for the brig, because there's a speed from the Lucio, and it's really powerful. That's the reason Lucio is picked as well.
No,
I
don't,
think, I
no,
think it's
please.
me.
I have Shatter. Tell me when you bash the
I'll
Reinhardt.
bubble you. I'll bubble you.
Okay.
But that
The bubble should go on Brigitte, because she's the one exposing herself. You know, she's dropping the shield right now to run faster, and then she's going for the stun, but she can be stunned by the enemy Brigitte as well.
motivation.
Shattered.
And you gotta go for the stun as she travels. Basically, you have to queue up the stun before the. You have to queue up the shatter before the stun.
I think I got blocked.
oh shit.
Oh god.
You really need to call out the bash.
No, it was called. It was called. I
Okay.
just had bad
Oh,
timing.
it was? Sorry. I just have. And
We got a decent amount of distance. We got the point.
yeah.
I nearly have nano boost. Mana boost.
I totally forgot to call my ult out, by the way.
You're so valid.
So, whatever happened in the last fight, this is for the whole team. Whatever happened in the last fight, it's beyond you. It's behind. I mean, it's behind you. And what you have to do is focus on the next fight, because right here, you have enemies in your face. You're at 1.2k HP on the shield, and you don't know what ults the enemies have. You have no ult set up for yourself. You haven't decided if you're gonna take a trash fight or not. And while you're respawning, that's perfect timing for you to talk about the next fight. And while you're running back to the choke, that's about 8 seconds or so. That's also valuable time you should use to plan instead of apologizing, because in the end it doesn't matter, or in game it doesn't matter if a play was right or if someone did wrong or not. What matters is how you deal with the obstacles in front of you, because you only have 3 minutes. So spend the time efficiently. Trash fights are eco/dry fights, yeah. It's just a different term that I got it from all teams I've been with. So different teams have different terms, but it's the exact same as eco/dry fight. Hi, Maserix. How's your day? And thank you. Yeah, thank you for the comments, for the warm words, and all the support, guys. And yeah.
Ryan shield low.
Big purple, big. Oh,
Big
Far's
purple.
Oh,
behind.
Justice.
I didn't hear, but.
Fara's one, Far.
Again, you already know what I'm gonna say about the pin, but you don't have to pin. You have to play calmly and use your pin as an escape or as a last resort, basically.
There's one.
Not always, like it always depends on the situation, but it's very easy to get tempted to pin.
Right on me.
Back up, Ryan. Back up, Ryan.
Keep your Rhine up. Keep Rhine up.
I'm trying.
Oh.
You just cancelled his shatter, so remember that, because you're at 60% ult charge, which means that next fight you're gonna farm up your shatter. You can be really aggressive.
Ryan lost shatter.
If you call out focus tire, everyone would have been able to kill that tire that just drove by.
Oh, Anna. Oh, you lived. We need to get the Moira.
You're getting kited by the diva right now, and if you just hold W and swing, the enemy Reinhardt won't have enough time to respawn, walk back, and suddenly it's a 6v6 again. So again, try to use the time efficiently and not chase as much, because if the diva flies behind you, you still have to care or pay attention to the enemies in front of you spamming. And you wanna zone them, and the rest of your team can deal with the diva, because you're just outnumbering her.
The Moira's on. Moira's
Diva's
half.
here, Diva's here.
I got
DV
two back.
Leave it down.
Push up.
Right there. Okay, we're rallying.
Keep pushing this. Keep pushing this. It's 3 people on... it's 3 enemies in front of you. You have a ton of teammates with you. Here you can go for the pin. Because if you go for the pin, they can turn on you without getting, your teammates in their faces as well. Your teammates are really close to you right here as well. So let's say that you look for a pin and you want to land in the middle here, so that you don't end up in the dark, behind the point, because no one can heal you up there, no one can see you, etc.
Alright, shatter and semi.
Oh, it's four people on path, 4 people. And the reason for going for the pin here is because you just killed enemies and you don't want to let them respawn. You want to get some ult charge. Maybe you can even just keep walking without shielding.
Sorry, in 25%.
The enemy Reinhardt is getting way more damage in than you are, and he's gonna end up with shatter before you do if you keep up like this, because you're a bit too defensive, in my opinion, because you can just swing and your teammates will heal you and cover you back.
Thank you. Alright.
Big old purple.
Shattering.
I got booped.
Oh, okay.
It's winnable. It's winnable.
Definitely winnable. Alright, more no fade. I'm bringing it back.
When you swing, try to turn. So try to turn like to your aim to the direction you're swinging, so that you have a wider swing. So for example, if you start swinging to the left, you want to turn your aim so that you hit people outside of your screen as well, and you can get double knocks as well. It's not really easy to get double knocks, but it can happen that you deal damage to an enemy twice. Gushu from Team China in World Cup, he does this, and it's a really tricky timing, but you still get a wider swing if you turn around. No full turn, but like you just extend the swing.
Diva ulted.
You want to swing before, you want to shatter before she gets the mech.
Shattering again.
Oh,
Big.
I've been. Oh, Reinhardt's down.
Lol.
Moira.
This is super winnable. Thanks, Lucio.
Big ol' purple.
Cheer.
I think maybe you misclick the pins sometimes because of the keybinds here, but you could always rebind your pin to some other key that you usually don't press, and you know, avoid pinning in that way.
Oh my god. Just
Oh, nice, yo. Oh, that was.
No, I got booed. Oh god, there's a
Get
Ryan.
right, he's low.
Winning.
Not go rat.
I have a feeling.
The netcode issue. Better keep.
Vitality level? Hello.
It's the net shack.
Oh,
Okay,
god
guys.
damn.
The net
Junkrat,
shack.
you are so deep.
I
Junkrat
DM'd their
should never
widow.
be deep.
They're pushing in.
Yeah,
Moira's
push the
down.
point. Oh,
So try to scout the Reinhardt here as well, because by the time they arrive to point, you should be by a telephone, or the telephone booth on the right side. If you drop down here, straight down, trying to take the point, or contest the point, it's gonna be easy to kill you. If you're by the phone booth, your supports from Arch can heal you, your supports from this window can heal you, above a phone booth, etc. And it's just way too late. Not way too late, but it's a bit late, the scouting. And yeah, you're moving really slow as Orisa, so it's gonna end up with the enemies getting a tick while you move to, you know, set up on the other side.
They're pushing in.
yeah,
Moira's
push the
down.
point. Oh, nice.
Diva
Hey,
contest.
Diva contest. Alright, thank you.
Diva contesting is really risky because she's gonna end up getting focused, she's gonna die, and you don't deal enough damage with Soldier and with this comp, because you're running Soldier instead of Widow, so you don't have any burst damage. And Junkrat has a lot of damage, but it's not kill damage. If that, you know, if you know what I mean by that, it's no guaranteed damage that will kill a target. It's a ton of damage that will end up healed. Some of it will end up healed, and your Diva, she either has to stay on point, contest, or she has to use her boosters and fly away. And if she uses her boosters, the enemies will get one tick. Who's gonna contest after her? Well, you have to heal up the Diva again, or she's gonna die if she goes back. And you have to factor in that you might not be able to kill the entire enemy team before they respawn or get back in, etc.
Throwing a shield down.
They missed charge. Lucio's super low. Lucio's.
Your shield right here is it's fine if you stay on point, but you as Orisa, you have to reposition here because you're a free target basically.
Super low.
I'm staying high.
Our Diva's low. I'm getting attacked. Reinhardt's
Yeah,
coming
I-
after me.
Yeah.
Trying to help you. Trying to help you.
So the advantage by staying on this side by the phone booth, you put your shield like this. It's that your supports can stand above you and heal you. Your Mercy can be above you. She can target everyone basically. And there's also this house, or like this doorway, that everyone else behind you can be safe in. And you just cover a ton of space with your shield, plus you contest, and no one can really damage your backline.
You are.
Zarya supercharger.
Mother of pearl.
Shield.
As soon as D.Va loses her mech, it's basically lost, because the counter to Orisa is just rushing her and getting behind the shield.
3 shield in 3, 2, 1.
And if your shield breaks, you can't do anything, but the D.Va has to matrix for your shield in order to cycle the shield perfectly and so on.
We're getting,
Reinhardt behind.
guys, we were getting slapped by a Reinhardt behind. We needed to help out the support there. It's okay.
And another thing, if you play here by the phone booth, your soldier can be above, free shooting to the enemy, into the enemies. He can visor from above. If he's sitting in the clock, I guess the call out is here, to the left, he's gonna end up getting killed if, someone targets him, if Lucia comes up, boops him down, etc. There's just a lot of things that can happen from this risky positioning.
Okay though, we'll just reset. Just reset. I was having trouble getting some nades off, so that's...
As soon as you lose first point as Orisa, it's more efficient to be on Reinhardt, because if you're on Orisa, you can't really back off if the enemies engage on you or try to bully you or zone you. And they have a ton of ults as well. Since you all died and they survived, they did more damage and healed up the damage you did on them. And you basically have to all in and hope that you get your ult.
But it's alright, we'll just...
Do we stay Orisa? I guess we're staying Orisa.
Yeah, I have
I
to
think
for
we'll...
now.
I think we'll have to, yeah. We can do this.
Yeah, we got this.
I can
We
switch
just
to
gotta-
Ryan after charge though.
We've done this.
You can also go Winston, since you have a D.Va and you can easily just jump high ground here on this platform and then drop down on the enemies. You have a Mercy as well, so she can fly up here, she can stand up here and heal down. She just heals everyone. And you can also go high ground here. You can send a soldier to run up this. I forgot to call it for this location, but the stairs up here, goes behind, shoots from above, etc. This shield as Orisa, it's gonna get spammed, so you want to put down the shield as late as possible. And when you get if your shield is still alive and you have your cooldown up, instead of shooting the shield, and also if no one is contesting you, standing right here in front of the shield, what you can do as Orisa is you aim straight up into the sky and make sure that nothing is blocking your view. And then you just fire your bubble or your shield straight up, and it's gonna land straight down here and refresh it refreshes the shield, plus the cooldown starts ticking as soon as you have pressed the shield button.
Yeah.
They're not getting too much space, which is good. They didn't push us way up, so that's on them.
So right now you can turn up or aim up and shoot the shield, and it's gonna end up refreshing the shield, and you just cycle your shield much faster.
Okay, we've got tire for this
They have
one.
a
They have
We
Bastion,
should
they have
probably
Bastion now.
I'm gonna tire right now.
Try and tire the Bastion if you can.
Okay.
You're gonna lose the shield battle if you place your new shield before the enemy Orisa does. So the Orisa that places her shield last is the one that's gonna win the shield battle, if everyone has equal spam. It's the same principle as on Junkertown versus Pirate Ship.
Sorry, half, but no personal. Oh, Orisa.
Orisa purple, Orisa...
As soon as you place the next shield, you should place your bongos as well, which is your ult.
purple.
I can't help you up there, soldier.
I can't sleep the Bastion with the shield.
Bastion's one.
Bastion one.
Bastion's one.
They're DMing him.
Yeah, try to use your ult as soon as possible, because you will never have a chance if you stay on Orisa again to have a good ult, since they will just snowball.
Oh my god.
Zarya low.
Yeah, we're gonna want a May, possibly.
May?
Bastion's dead.
Sorry, I had to
Bastion, yeah.
reload.
Maybe.
Bastion's down. We'll see if they can
I just
reset
got
it.
picked off.
Let's regroup at the end of the point.
They switched off the Bastion to a Doomfist.
Okay.
Just make sure we protect our supports then.
So if you would have been on Reinhardt at first or second point when you respawned as Orisa, you would be able to take an early fight. Let's see. You would be able to contest the payload right here, and then that's your first fight. Let's say that you all die. The next time you contest the payload, it would be around here, like this midsection. That's your second fight, if you're really fast as well. You switch the Mercy to Lucio as well.
Orisa.
And your third fight would be then at the end of second point. And you get a lot more fights. So with Orisa, you really have to all in and use everything you have. Otherwise, it's just too easy to snowball.
Oh, sorry. I had
They can.
Doomfist.
Okay.
Just make sure we protect our
So one fight on second point, it's suboptimal. And you want to try and have at least 2 fights. It's like Numbani when you attack.
supports then.
Or defend, I mean.
Yeah, they're pushing way up.
Yeah, okay. We're just gonna have to
Should
hold
probably
it.
get a, if you die, we should probably get a
I'm
Reinhardt.
popping charger.
So you used bongos, but there's no kill potential with the bongos because you use it right as Orisa's enemy Orisa's old shield dies, so she's gonna put up a new shield. You're also really far away. You didn't call for any ult combos like Visor. Let's see, what else is there? Grav plus bongos, Valk plus bongos, and you're really far away, so it's hard to hit anyone if all they do is walk to the right side here. If everyone in the enemy team just hides behind this wall, this ultimate is negated because of line of sight.
Nano me.
Who's me? Who's me?
Soldier, nano soldier.
Okay.
Oh shit! I could save others, but not myself.
I'm trying to keep you alive. Okay.
Oh shit!
If you fortify, I think you would be able to. Yeah, if you fortify, you would be able to survive the bomb. And you don't have to walk towards your team.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Here with. Sorry,
Yeah,
stop.
over there.
Almost back. Almost back.
Zarya's one. Zarya's one. Zarya's one.
Try and land the pin right in the payload here, because you don't have to travel further up. And if you go too far, like here, behind this wall, you can end up being punched by Doomfist. He can combo you. Maybe enemy Orisa will pull you. You never know what might happen if you go too far, because you can't see anything.
Zarya's one.
So I'm in there with Doom. I'm low.
I'm trying.
Thank you.
Back. Oh god. I have my ult when I get back.
They
y'all.
pop charger.
Just try to stay alive. Keep your honor alive.
Try and die on payload so that the payload doesn't push as you slowly back off, because it's very unlikely that you're gonna survive. And if you just die on payload, the cart doesn't push and your teammates get more time to respawn and you have better chances to contest. Right now you're just delaying your own death. And yeah,
I'll try and
it's no big deal, like it happens. And everyone learns it the hard way, but you can be more efficient by, yeah.
Just shoot.
Oh dear god.
Charging cart.
Good.
Stay on that point, y'all.
I'm trying to. Thank.
Just keep swinging here.
You got this. You guys gotta kill.
Sweet.
Doomfist is sleeping by Mini. Doomfist is sleeping by Mini. Do not wake him
Shattering.
until
Doomfist is alive.
Doomfist is up.
You're lucky that you got booped, because if you miss this pin, you would be all the way back here. Instead, try to position yourself so that you pin towards the payload and not right next to the payload.
Lucio 1, Lucio down.
Doomfist is on mini. Doomfist is on mini. He's coming back to point.
Going Diva for stall.
I'm low. Oh god.
I'm trying to keep you up.
You could stay on Reinhardt because you don't have to stall because your whole team is right here. And instead you want to swing on point because Orisa, she won't be... She's counted by your Reinhardt. And if you go on Diva, you can't really shoot at the shield. You have a ton of matrix, shields, etc. to deal with and bubbles. So just keep swinging as Reinhardt and you'll build Shatter in the next fight, I think.
Sorry, no projected.
And you also boop enemies off the payload.
Either
Get through Orisa. Try and focus Orisa if you can. We don't want. I've got a. That was big. That was big.
I'm
There's
down.
one down right now.
Diva is on me behind
Keep on
payload.
our life, guys. Keep on our life.
Behind payload.
Orisa low, Orisa dead.
I'm on my way back.
I'm down.
I'm dead.
You have more effective damage as Reinhardt because they're all stacked.
Alright, 75 to bomb.
Oh dear god.
I'm trying to keep everybody healed through it.
Yes, you're doing great. Oh man.
I have no piss.
Get Zarya, y'all. We're just letting her live.
Zarya. She's low. She's no person.
I'm down. Oh dear god.
Someone's gotta get on cart.
Yeah, so I think if you stayed Reinhardt, you would have maybe 2 shatters because you went Diva and you did less damage than you would have on Reinhardt and you almost got the bomb. So try to not panic next time. I think it was a panic switch and it happens to everyone. Especially since it was a tournament. I totally understand it.
I'm guessing if we could potentially focus more.
I was worried about time.
Epsilon's gotta be
Okay.
That
really good at math.
DPS. Clap.
yeah, I just that was
Once we get closer to
definitely.
the gate, we're-
So if the team keeps talking about the last point, try to reset the team before you exit the spawn doors because right now it's not the time to talk about what happened in last round, and you can do it after the match, which is possibly in like 5 minutes.
we're gonna speed in, okay?
Okay,
Y'all
yeah.
ready? Let's speed in.
Yeah, I just that
Once
was
we get closer to
definitely
the gate, we're-
Yeah,
big old purple.
Oh, they're purple. They're all purple.
Ryan,
They're all
Ryan.
all the slap.
nice, good job.
Ryan, nice.
Break.
That was a fat purple.
I'm up on him.
Let's see. This is great. You didn't go for the pin, you just push in. You can even go next level, drop your shield, and be faster. Like you'll run into them like Terminator almost, with a big hammer.
Big old purple.
All they're purple. They're all purple.
Ryan,
They're all
Ryan.
all the slap.
Lucio down.
Ryan,
And great
Break,
swinging.
break.
Great swinging.
That was a fat purple.
Like the extension.
I'm up on him. Break no back.
Moira in our back line.
Don't let him get on. Don't let him get on point.
Who's in the back line?
Moira purple. Yeah, so that's sort of like that's what I was noticing that second round, right? I was having a lot of Please come out, cart.
Go in and swing here, like you did on first point. You want to go in like the same thing again. As soon as you start moving back, that's when you give enough space to them. They control the point, and you have to keep in mind like your Brigitte, she's already in the front, and it doesn't matter if the enemy Brigitte stuns you, because you will have more charge than the enemy Reinhardt. Since he died, he didn't do damage, and you're at 57%, so you can be certain that he doesn't have any stun.
Break no back. 72 to shatter.
You guys are low.
If you wait like this, you give the enemy Reinhardt a chance to build his shatter, and he's gonna turn on you and then, yeah,
You guys are low.
blow up the team.
High
Back up. That was a waste.
I'm
No.
coming around the corner.
Break no back.
Big purple, big purple.
Huge purple.
Going on that.
Spartan, uptime doesn't work in the chat, but I've been online for about 1 hour almost.
Running, they're running. Oh god.
Lucio one, Lucio one.
Ryan behind.
Ryan's behind still. Ryan's behind still.
Not anymore.
Go for the shatter, like press Q right now.
Help your
It's overtime soon, so if you press Q, you're gonna get second point for free.
Brigitte. I can't heal her right now.
Big rev, big rev.
During the grab, you shouldn't use shatter because the enemies will be locked into one position anyways. And they will walk up. Anyone who survives, they will be out of the stun and out of the grab at the same time.
Oh, you should have called that. I should have called mine too.
This is still fat. This is still fat.
It's okay. Keep going, guys. Keep going. You
Yeah,
did it.
let's push up to their spawn, we go!
You want to be careful with pushing up to their spawn before overtime, because if you kill them too quickly, for example, like just now, they're gonna have the normal spawn timers. I think it's 10 seconds, and they will run up. They won't contest second point, but they will come back with ults, and let's say that they stop you right here with the cart, or maybe they kill everyone or a few, and it's just it's setting yourselves up for potential anti-snowball, and you don't have to run super far up because you still have the cart to care about.
Spawn patrol.
Okay, we might want a second on the cart though.
No.
Fire
no,
the
no,
map,
we're
fire
good,
the
we're good.
map.
I just be aware that once I turn the corner,
So anyone that dies right now is gonna hurt both teams equally much, especially you as attackers, because you have a further distance to run. And right now you're not set up to fight the enemies, and the reason for that is because you would have to run super far back or super far deep, because they're still respawning, they're still running out of the spawn doors, and you just can't reach them.
I can't shoot you. I gotta stay on this cart. I see criticals. Okay, I can heal now.
Come back.
Just if you go any farther,
So Lucio, he's gonna have 12. He or she is gonna have 12 seconds spawn timer, and then probably 20 seconds or 15 seconds to get back to point.
Far up.
Back up, back up.
Yeah, just back up to point.
Zarya shouldn't have to use her bubble because it's critical to save the bubble for when the fight starts.
They're rallying. Bring no back.
big old purple.
Keep Rig alive, keep Rig alive.
Ooh, I'm
Oh, I can't kill it.
Wow.
nowhere.
And you see, they come back with ults, and you were out of position, everyone. And it's just better to play safe, poke from far away, charge up your ults, and receive the ults. And you ask them what ults do they have, etc. And you got a bit carried away with the hype, basically, from the spawn camping.
Hide. Sorry.
I'm on my way back.
That
We're
was
getting CC'd
that
all
was
over
a
the place.
Poco. Straight.
We've just got
It's a great push you did, though.
See,
Great push.
I need some meat.
Okay.
Man, I can't get
No,
any
you're doing good.
purples.
Be careful. You're
Any
doing good.
purples. So I just like maybe I'm right now, but I am going to drop down if need be.
Okay.
Just hoping that
It's enough to have Junkrat alone in here, because if no one gets stuck in the mine or the trap, I guess you wanna charge in. Let's say that you don't find anyone. Maybe they turn around and see you. They can speed through. They speed to this side of the statue. They can wrap around you as well. They just be the left side of the statue from their point of view. Turn around, go to your backs, or just go straight point.
they don't have a do.
Instead, if you stay on the normal spot around the statue, your Junkrat, he will be able to take care of lobby, which is this area here, himself, and you stop enemies from running into the point.
Doomfist or anything.
Some help, yeah.
Gotcha.
There goes,
Okay.
there goes.
Goat! Sorry in the trap.
You want to avoid these type of pins because it's 2:30. If it was 1 minute, maybe it's okay then. But let's say that you get the kill on Zarya. Okay, now you're super deep. no one can help you. Zarya, she's gonna respawn, and you die, you respawn as well, but your team can't fend off the enemies without you. The enemies can attack without the Zarya, that's for sure.
Oh crap, I missed it. Whiffed it.
Okay, that's a big
Okay,
go,
come out of the movie
I'm
theater.
trying.
I can't loading.
Reinhardt or oh.
Especially since you're running Reaper and Junkrat, you want to have consistent damage all the time, and you don't want to go for these burst kills.
I can give you a life, just keep walking backwards.
Okay, I have a tire, I have a tire.
Diva
I'm gonna
sleeping,
send
Diva
it
sleeping
in.
Oh,
behind you,
sorry.
Zarya.
We need to get on point.
Oh, why is Diva here?
Point.
D-Max. Alright, let's get the point.
Point.
I got Shatter.
We can't get on
We're
point.
not on point. We're not on
We
point.
can.
I'm on point.
I got Shatter.
There's a Ryan in the back on your support.
dead.
Jump.
Go for the Shatter.
There's a Ryan in the back.
Okay, now you want to press Q as soon as you see this flash. This is like just a small tip. As soon as you see this flash, this yellow flash, you wanna train yourself like to like instantly find a Shatter. If you just press Q right now, you can get Mercy and you can get Diva. You can turn and you can even get Lucio a bit maybe. And if you wait, and hold shield, enemies are basically reading your body language, and it says, okay, here's Shatter. Let's stun him. Let's focus him. Watch out for Shatter. They can't react right now.
Back on your support.
dead.
Jump.
And I think you're waiting a bit too much to get a perfect Shatter, and you don't need a perfect Shatter.
I got stunned out of it. Break down.
Reinhardt still. Oh man.
And during the Memorial Beam, you don't have to hold your shield up because it goes through your shield.
Oh, I see. Nice.
And I think all of this is because of the pin you tried. And it's not to like, it didn't cause this like fight here. It just was one misplay that chained into another one because Reaper had used shift really early because he or she was really far up and was out of position as soon as you died, and that chained into another mistake and another one, and then you just playing catch up. And you can avoid it by just being safe and keeping in mind that it's 2.5 minutes that they have to attack.
Hey, we got time off the
Alright,
clock.
I'm gonna go far. I'm gonna go far.
Okay.
And as Dragonus says, my team's main tank usually holds Shatter for less than 2 seconds before firing away. The tip I gave about the flash right here, it's not something you should always use, because as in life, you know, there's no static, there's no like, every second in time is different from the second before, if that makes sense. There's always like random factors, different situations, etc. And just in that one, when it's overtime or when it's a big fight on point that you have to win, that's when you just use Shatter without thinking. Yo, Oliver.
I
Okay.
have a bastion.
Make sure we have a clean reset so that we don't get staggered by them pushing up.
Okay, I see Zarya by herself.
I think she got old spawn.
Okay, okay. I'm just making sure. They don't have a
Yeah, I
lot
agree
of
with
time.
you.
These
I agree with
guys.
you, Grims.
Yeah.
Voxel, I'm gonna get
Watch
him
out for bastion.
next fight.
Oh shit, yeah.
We need to push up before we're giving them too much space. You ready?
God, I missed my barrier.
Yep,
I'm
they got
boop.
Bastion.
No! Okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay.
Big.
I'm dying.
So as soon as you show yourself, or as soon as the cart arrives to this line, before it arrives to this line, you want to hide behind this corner. When it arrives here, this is when you want to move in. You boop off the Reinhardt, off the cart, then your Anna tries to get a nade, and you focus all the Bastion. If Bastion gets shielded, it's only 200 HP, and you try and burst it down. And keep in mind your shield is gonna melt in within 2 seconds.
You ready?
God, I missed my barrier.
Yep, they
I'm
got
boop.
Bastion.
No! Okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Now you're waiting too much. you're not in position. Like you can hold your shield and keep walking forward, because as soon as it's dead, you're gonna have to swing, and you wanna do anything you can. Basically, you wanna have as quick and as possible pins, meaning that if you're the further away you're from Reinhardt, the more milliseconds he's gonna have time to react with a shatter. And it's totally possible to react to a pin with a shatter.
It's okay, it's okay.
Big.
I'm dying.
Who should handle the Bastion? Everyone basically just focuses the Bastion. That's the only way to deal with it, unless you do May wall in front of the Bastion and just go in on the Reinhardt or whatever is available.
They use all their ult.
I think the May should have walled the Bastion,
I'll
for
have
sure.
Grav.
Oh, thanks, Riz.
And you put the wall on top of the payload.
It's okay.
Oh, man. You're trying to stall as long as you can. They only have 40 seconds. Oh, okay. Should I go Lucio to
And unfortunately, it won't be an easy fight or point to take back. I think the last chance you had, like fair chance, was last fight, and that's how much enemies can snowball basically, and ruin the fights, etc. Not ruin the fights. I mean, they can overpower you in the upcoming fights.
I don't know
Yes,
if we can.
yes, yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no. Rip. If we can get on it, oh.
All right.
We could do.
I think if you're a bit more patient with your pins, when you're pushing up, when you're walking up, I mean, and you hold your shield, you will be a lot safer. You won't be killed, and your team will be able to follow up. Try to swing more often when you walk forward, and do it when it feels right in your gut, basically. Because when you play Reinhardt, you can't always think logically about what you're gonna do. You have to react with emotions, basically. So if it feels like a good shatter, you just press shatter. If it feels like a risky pin, then you don't go for the pin. And what else is there? Try to push up when you snowball, so that if you know that you have more ult charge than the enemy Reinhardt on second point, at the start of second point, just go in, build the ult, and then shatter. And if you die, you die. That's no big deal. But you are too afraid when you're trying to snowball, and then on defense you're a bit too afraid as well. You need to fight more often as the defenders, and tries to switch to Reinhardt instead of to Orisa. Yeah, this was from LonelyVoxel, and it was a tournament VOD.